talk about VY nowadays, we usually only think about velocities, N classes, or even sprinters. And with the N classes on their way to retirement from passenger services, I'd like to reintroduce you to one of V1's recent and more unique retirees for one last dance. On the 26th of November 2023, 707 Operations chartered V1 locomotives P12 and P15 alongside HSET LH33 to bid a final farewell for V1's push-pull P classes. This would also double up as their end-of-year members train, with steam locomotive R707 featuring up the front of the train. Approaching Moorabbin, R707 leads the first leg of the Stony Point bound train towards Frankston. In 1984 and 1985, 13 P-Class locomotives were rebuilt from the T-Class locomotive, featuring a new engine and body alongside the addition of a head-end power generator. A typical consist for the P would feature 3 to 4 car H-sets hauled by a lone P-Class or 2 P-Classes in a push-pull setup. Push-pull or top and tail setups were unique as they were useful, as these types of trains did not need to use runaround loops for the locomotives to switch ends, saving time and increasing efficiency, especially on short-haul services such as the Old Kyneton and Sunbury services. Locomotives P11 to P18 would stay at V-Line well into the late 2010s, while P19 to P23 were inherited by Freight Australia following the Freight Division in 1997. In the years leading up to their retirement, the remaining P-Classes would exclusively run in push-pull mode, with their final services operating to Bacchus Marsh and Wyndham Vale, officially retiring on the 25th of August 2017. Hope was not lost for the future of the locomotives, with 5 of the 8 P classes being acquired by freight operator Southern Short Haul Railroad in 2019. P13 remained as the standard gauge shunter for V1. P12 and P15 were only ever seen on some routine shunting and were leased to heritage tours on the odd occasion. Back to the final farewell, R707 disembarks the train at Frankston, while P15 will take charge of the train on the second leg towards Stony Point. This line was operated by locomotives up until May 2008, prior to the takeover of the Sprinter DMUs. Stony Point has a short runaround track used for short train runarounds, especially prior to 2008. Since Sprinters are the only train to visit the terminus nowadays, the runaround is no longer needed. After a lunch break on the Stony Point seaside, P12 leads the service through Morradoo, one of the line's many small stations. R707 awaits to rejoin the train at Frankston station. Certainly not my favourite place to photograph trains, with a few locals causing a bit of trouble on the platform behind the scenes. Nonetheless, I took the opportunity to catch some steam passing by the old signal box while R707 charges towards Newport. And for the final time, P15 and P12 won one last push-pull setup, transferring the consist back to the bank sidings and into storage. A week later, on the 3rd of December, P12 ran its final charter on another 707 operations train from Castlemaine. This train featured alongside fellow shunter Y161, which is still in service to this day with V-Line, and R707's vintage Y127. So with history all caught up, P11 is currently owned by Southern Short Haul Railroad and is Bendigo's workshop shunter. P12 now has its decal stripped, in service with SSR. P13 is now owned by 707 Operations, and P14 to P18 are in service for Southern Short Haul Railroad. As for the former freight P classes, P19 is stored at Edamoga, P20 is in service with 707 Operations, painted into a vintage V-Line livery, and P21, 22 and 23 are stored at Edamoga. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.